Okay, folks, welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, I had an opportunity to start this nonsense a little earlier than normal, so I took it. And this morning we were working on this the Morris. So let's go ahead and paint the tires on here. Tires, Tyres. British tires. Mr. Barnes, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Unusual that I'm on this time, but we had kind of a holiday end of the year thing at work, and they let everybody get off early. So, and the wife's not home, so we can scream. Ah! Actually, I can scream if she's home. I don't want to do that while she's asleep. Sound like an iguana that was stepped on by a car or something. Car rolled over on an iguana. Ah! This must have been a model that's been redone at some point because it's got a lot of pieces and fits together pretty well for its age. It fits together pretty well. And it really isn't geared for children. It's got too many parts. Good timing for me too. Too tired to paint now. Does that mean I'm here to give you some oomph? Or, great, now you show up. Believe me, I would have stayed home if I could have gotten away with it. It doesn't quite work that way. No, help keep you awake longer. Let's see. It's not that late over there. You shouldn't go to sleep. Go have make yourself some American coffee. I don't know. Is there such a thing as British coffee? So what's this Yorkshire tea? Is that something I should check out while I'm over there? What's it all about? How is it different than Earl Grey, taste wise? I like Earl Grey. The Earl Grey will see you now. So I don't really like the taste of coffee. I'd much rather drink tea. But I don't want to drink anything warm. That's poppycock. should try that Yorkshire while I'm over there, shouldn't I? I only got 2 days, man. I got to plan it out really well. Well, I'm kind of falling asleep myself a little bit. Yeah, it's better than this making you angry. Better than it making you angry. 5 viewers, a bunch of people sitting, coming home hooky. So I have very few vacation days, anyways, and it's very unusual. Try it. Not sure about it being cold though. Yeah, we can always throw ice in it. After it's done its thing, After it's steeped. I don't get very many days off. It's pretty annoying to live in this neighborhood where half the people are retired. So no matter, you got like a miracle. Like a miracle happens and you get to leave work early or whatever. And you come home and everybody's already fucking home. It's like, you motherfuckers, where have you been? This is my day to get off early. This is my day. I got the cops next door that have a weird ass Mitch schedule. Weird ass schedule. That they were off on Monday and Tuesday and today. Well, I hope they enjoy working over the weekend. Sucker! It's so weird to have this truck that only has single wheels in the back. Just odd. A bit odd. Alright, so we're going to have to rinse this out. Going to have to wait for the wheels to dry a little bit. So while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and dry brush the Beauforts that we painted this morning, that we were able to add those things this morning. Is there nothing? Well, I guess this one's dry enough. This one's like it's been violated. Most of this stuff off with the hand sanitizer, and let's neutralize it with water. Had that Essex order held up by Royal Mail 4 days, sat unscanned. You guys having a strike or something? Or usual Royal Mail incompetence? Or Royal Mail was trained by the U.S. Postal Service. Which is the definition of a slackjaw. Not a fan of the U.S. Postal Service. They'll flat out lie to you. Oh, we tried to deliver this package. We tried to deliver this package here at work. And then, or you get, hey, we tried to deliver this package, but somebody at the house refused it. Liar, you just didn't feel like freaking walking up to the door, you lazy person. Lazy ass person. Okay, so dark sand is the first one. Yeah, Essex, I used to, pre-COVID, I used to get Essex within 6 days. I don't mean 6 business days, I mean in 6 days. I'd get it like, 1 day earlier than a week. All right, this is the sand color, which is one of the colors for the environment. Ooh, an environmental color. Not quite. Good evening. Not yet. Got here earlier just for you, man. Sorry you bailed this morning. Had you on the background as I tried out the airbrush. Well, how'd it go? Did you have the day off or something? Another person that had the day off. I gotta watch some advanced videos like how to get those thin lines that you get in the airbrush. My airbrush can do, our airbrush, thank you, can do lots of amazing things that I haven't been able to do yet. Like really, really thin lines. I don't want it to replace this. I'm just, I want to like put the kind of get the ball moving with a camouflage scheme, and then you can, address it or weather it or whatever with brushes. Went okay. Only prying some buildings and dust around with some car to get to grips with the use of it. Is the hardest thing is that is the pullback on it. As I swear, it only has like a millimeter and a half of pull. You have some days off, or you took them off. Okay, so you can't even you can't carry them over. I'm not gonna take my days off just to sit around at home. Yeah. What they used to do is they used to pay you for them. Like if you don't do them, you don't. You know, if you don't, I don't want to take a day off and not do anything. I don't mind getting paid for it. He says do narrow lines to start the flow, further away, and then move closer, let up on the flow. Yeah, I think I need to thin my paints a lot more than I'm willing to do at this point. But I got a lot better that one day I ended up priming like 20 vehicles or something like that. Especially because it was the primer, so I had to take the thing apart and clean it multiple times during that session. Now, I think I'm going to have to hold it with both hands. It's just really awkward to hold an airbrush with both hands, you know? It's like you're trying to shoot a howitzer with two hands. Like, okay. That's the wrong thing to say. Trying to shoot something that's just not very powerful. And you're like, yeah, you're bigger than... Same thing. Not sure why people say cleaning it is some Herculean task. I tried it about 5 paints and found cleaning it was somewhat zen. Well, that one we have isn't a pain in the butt. Other ones, yes, they're a nightmare because they're a pain in the butt to disassemble and stuff. This one actually disassembles pretty easy. Just don't lose that little wrench. And I had a lot of problems till I realized I needed to wrench down the end. So, but they give you like wax and all that stuff. I've never used that shit. I've never used that before. It doesn't. You don't need to do that. Some people are just getting airbrushing and they're just not into doing precision kind of stuff. If you're already doing some kind of painting, you know, already got fine motor skills, you know. And some people swear by solvent-based paint. I'm just not, you know, change the needle and the nozzle to the .5. Yeah, for the priming. Made a big difference, didn't it? You can actually prime with a 3.5, but it jams on you all the time. What kind of primer are you using? You using the Slave Trader Vallejo primer? I'm in no danger of running out of any Vallejo products. All right, so we've got that. This is probably dry enough now, so we're going to go ahead and do the same color here on top of this one. Didn't issue prime .35 until the Thrive 5 arrived about an hour into the adventure. Wow. Day one. Remember what I said the first tip is, don't make any fucking plans. Like, I want an airbrush. Okay, well, you might, you know, you may not be able to get where you want in an hour. It might take 2 or 3. But it's honestly a pretty pleasant experience, especially with that airbrush. And that's what I wanted. I don't want something that punishes you for taking it apart. I use Viejo Green Brown, I think it is. Hence the day off. That's right. Well, that's kind of taking it to extremes, but okay. Yeah, the Viejo paint you have to thin. Well, we'll see how long that strike goes on and see if there's a shortage of this stuff. There's other stuff you can use, anyways. Yeah, I've actually found that about that. I think I'll send a notification on Reddit, which I don't know why. I rarely go on there. Those people are in dire need of a hobby. Everybody on, most of the people on the Reddit, those Reddit things, like man, if you put half as much effort that you do into your job, about arguing with people you're never going to meet, incessantly arguing, you get a lot more done. Drinking black coffee and still yawning. Well, I'm going to make another one. I ain't scared. I'll be right back. You said green brown? Green brown. But did you use a primer or did you use a... The heck did you prime in this color? You doing Africa core stuff? I think this is like the color they recommend for the late Africa core. It's close enough anyways, especially by the time you weather it and stuff. You just got to get close. No, I got the notification today that the guy finally got up off his ass and shipped the order I ordered from eBay. Was it eBay? Yeah. It was from eBay. I decided to order it from eBay and not AliExpress. And I think the window is like December 16th to January 2nd. So... Unfortunately, I think a lot of those tanks are going to be a little on the boring looking. A lot of those Crusaders didn't have any camouflage on them. I mean, it still look good. I mean, these don't have any camouflage and look good, but Crusaders with the camouflage happened at like Gazala, and there's a few of them that had counter scheme, but I'm not going to be doing any of those. It always said that Operation Crusader is the first place that they use the Crusader in combat, but that's not true. They had some at Battle Axe. They just didn't have that many. Okay, so this... We got to find a picture and find out exactly what's tarp and what's not. It was a primer version which did some buildings which will eventually whitewash. Has a bit of a grungy look to it. Yeah, I guess this looks kind of grungy. They make a lot of colors in primer, right? I mean, when I got the black one, they just had black, red. I think they made the black, white, red, and like a light gray. But now they do like Dunkelgelb and all kinds of stuff. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen to that company? For all we know, somebody else will buy it and they'll run it into the ground even more. You need to pick up some masking tape so you can also try some of those colored lines they like to put on adobe buildings out near Wadistan. Wadistan, is that the neighbor of Absurdistan? It's across the pond from Absurdistan. This is the one that I'm kind of low on. Where is it? Pale sand. Yeah, the Dunkelgelb. Yeah, I could probably have used something like that and then just give it a dark wash and then work it up from there. I don't know that using a black primer makes that much of a difference. It's just habit. You can blame it on the heavy metal painting guide. #1 destination for foreign aid. Yep. Don't take care of people in your country. Go and give them foreign aid. Yeah, there's quite a bit of life in here. What time period is the warfare in Wadistan happening? Is it Victorian? Oh, Snapdragon. Let's go lighter than that. There we go. Number one destination of foreign aid, so they must have money laundering schemes there. Does that happen in British politicians, or is that just an American thing? Guy goes in and does a job for 2 years. He makes $200,000 a year. That's $400,000. Comes out a multi-millionaire. Like, maybe if I was good at the quadratic formula, that shit would make sense. We got to pick some. We got to find some pictures of the old Morris here. I swear this thing looks like Brum. Do you know what Brum is? Brum is some kids' TV show that's made in the UK, and I don't know if they play it there. It was just kind of done for, you know, the show here. And it's this little like remote control car but it's supposedly alive, and it's like a kid's car. They call it, and it just drives around. It's got a personality of its own, or but it's like live action or whatever. The front of this looks like that. My daughter used to watch it. That's why I know. Let's see, Brummy. I better not look what a Brummy is. That could be bad. Brum car. Here we go. Here's Brum. He didn't talk or anything. Oh, it is remote control. Cool. Brummy is someone from Birmingham. So yeah, it's something bad. Oh man. Okay, what's the Birmingham equivalent in the United States? What's the Birmingham equivalent in the United States? Is it like Cleveland? Baltimore. And is London the equivalent of New York? Like, I don't want to live in New York. Just like people, you probably don't want to live in London. It's probably a shit show. Okay, let's go see if I can find a picture of this, of the Morris. Maybe Detroit. That's terrible. That's terrible. Birmingham, Birmingham. We used to play World War II naval. I had one of my cruisers was the Birmingham. Of course, I called it Birmingham because it frequently would get a fire on it, and it was like, oh, it's Birmingham. Detroit. What English cities are equivalent to the U.S.? Okay. I'm telling you, this is an educational entertainment. Okay, so here's a Reddit. Reddit is just full of shit normally. Here is some 11, and I've not been in most of these American cities. I can just tell you what kind of reputation they have. Okay, I have a family in the UK. Well, just England. And I wanted to understand the cities more. What are some of the best one-to-one comparisons to city? What's the Manchester, Liverpool, London, Glasgow of America? Thanks. Sheffield equals Pittsburgh. Okay, but Pittsburgh's like lost all its industry. Working class, blue collar city, very much rooted in heavy industry, especially steel, trying to reinvent itself with more diverse demographics. Actually, much, much nicer than it seems at first glance. Odd accent. Often feels a little overlooked due to the preeminence of another major city in its area. Philadelphia slash Leeds. London isn't Washington, D.C. If you're going to compare London to the American city, the nearest match should be New York. Oh, so it's a dump. Birmingham often draws comparisons to Chicago. Overlooked city that's changed a lot in recent years but hasn't shaken off its stereotypes. Or as I like to call it, Shitcago. Well, you know what shit means, and Cago means I crap in Spanish. So, shit, I crap, Chicago. Never been to Chicago. Interesting. You get accents from multiculturalism too. The Cockney accent in London has its roots from the Huguenots, French Protestant migrants. Yeah, those guys are no fun at parties. They drop the H's and T's from words, just like the French. Not to mention, English itself is a mixture of Germanic, Norman, Norse, Celtic roots. So, probably still be speaking Proto-Bithronic. Okay. I'm from Manchester, and there are broad comparisons with Boston. See Liverpool compared to Philadelphia a lot. Manchester, Chicago, Birmingham, Dallas, Brighton. I don't even know where the hell Brighton is. Brighton's out in Exeter, isn't it? Manchester is a dump these days. I think all big cities are a dump everywhere. And, big cities I'm talking about, in the millions. Brighton is way down south. Closest equivalent is San Francisco. Oh, so Brighton's pretty fruity, huh? Is that where all the Chinese food is in Brighton, huh? Let's check out this Morris. Let's check out this Morris. Morris. Oh man, what the hell is this called? CDSW. I remembered. CDSW Desert. Images. Okay. Magnificent. Okay, so all this stuff here, and the roof, and all this thing. Right. Excellent. Just remember the Simpsons scene where Castro says the Americans aren't so bad. They named a city after him in San Francisco, and they sometimes whisper in his ear, and he shouts, "It's full of what?" Oh, man. You'll go to Cuba before I will, just so you know. I think probably, and you probably have no plans, and you'll still go before I will. I'll never forget many years ago, Whoopi Goldberg said something like, "Oh, you can't say communism is so bad." I said, "Well, maybe you can't say it. Why don't you go live there?" Everybody's equal. Yeah, everybody's equally disadvantaged. It's misery. No thanks. Did we use... What color did we use? What color? It doesn't really matter. Whatever one I pick, it'll be fine. I can start with khaki gray, this green brown. Uniforme Inglés. English uniform. We got English uniform and all those English guys. So let's try something a little bit different. Which one am I missing? I'm missing just straight khaki, right? I'm not missing it. It's up here. That's not the one I used. I'm pretty sure I used green brown. Let's try green. Oop, let's try green brown. The only episode I remember of The Simpsons was this episode was about St. Patrick's Day. And some fight breaks out in the middle of the parade. And it's like, is this what you think about what you think of the Irish or something like that? It's just, they're all drunk getting in fights. Now, I don't understand fighting when you're drinking. If you're fighting when you're drinking, you're doing it wrong. You're absolutely doing it wrong. Like, nothing makes me angry when I'm drinking. But I'm not Irish. But I don't dislike the Irish. They were our allies, I guess. All right. As always, we put too much of that shit down. Let's see. If you ask some generic white people here in the United States where they come from, almost every one of them is going to say either they don't know, or they're going to say I'm Scots-Irish something or another. So either they don't know, or the Scots-Irish needed to have some hobbies and have less kids, because it's like everybody's Scots-Irish. Oh yeah, and 1/16 Cherokee. And that's just here in the United States, just generally. Yeah, some generic Anglo person. In my experience, that's what they're going to tell you. Now, what's happening here? That looks like it's. Uh huh. Yeah, there's not a really big. There's not some great. There's not any great definition between what is a tarped and what isn't. That's kind of really the weak point of this, but we can get around that. So when I was painting my Irish, I don't know if I said this on one of the shows when I was painting my Irish. I came across because I was, I'm trying to figure out some colors and looking, figuring out what decisions I'm going to make that I don't want to regret later on the colors that that I chose. And apparently, what I found out, and I don't know where I found this, but it seemed pretty legitimate that the uh, the historical color for the Irish is not green; it's yellow, because one of their pre-Christian gods or whatever, the gods that they worshipped, like the Germans that in pagan times, was a sun god. So sun, yellow, what have you. So they had a lot of like linens and stuff that were dyed ochre, yellow colors. And then I read a little later that when Henry VIII invaded and tried to putting him down, um, he banned them from wearing yellow clothes. And I have a feeling, I suspect that that's where the green kind of went along with him. And I bet that's exactly why when you call somebody yellow bellied or whatever, yellow whatever for being a coward or something like that, that's where it comes from the yellow thing. That is my guess. I think it's an educated guess, and it would make sense because when they were fighting the English army, they're irregular fighters. You don't stand and fight, so they're running away and and being evasive and stuff like that. So they're probably thinking that they're a bunch of cowards. They're still fighting, but they're cowardly. Oh, this is a nice tint to it, and I bet that's where it came from. You calling somebody yellow or whatever, it comes from that. But I love how they have all the infighting amongst all the little countries in the UK. I think it's hilarious. We have the same thing, but we do it between states. So when you have somebody from we have somebody from England making fun of somebody from Wales, it's like us making fun of people from California or something. And people could say when you make fun of people from Florida. Well, the difference is nobody's moving to California. They're all coming here. So if you don't like Florida, get the fuck out. Right? We already have enough people here. Okay, this is this mesh color. Okay? And then there's places in the US that everybody makes fun of. Okay, that everybody makes fun of. Like, this, like, for instance, there's states where nobody, really even cares. I mean, they're just kind of, nobody thinks much of. And then there's some that are just like, they're the butt of everybody's joke. And that would be like a West Virginia. West Virginia is basically that, or Arkansas, Mississippi. Those three are the biggest, like, people make fun of them. People make fun of them. And then there's places that nobody likes unless you're from there. And that would be like New York. Like, people don't like people from New York for obvious reasons. You make fun of people from other countries and towns too. Well, of course. Wouldn't want it any other way. That'd be silly not to. All right, Ben. So what's this deal with Yorkshire tea? Why does everybody rave about it? How is it different than Earl Grey? I've had Earl Grey many times, and I'm a fan. I'm actually a fan of tea. I am. British tea. I just don't want to drink it warm. You know, put ice in it. It civilize you people. But taste wise, tastes better than this slop. But that's motivating, which is why I drink it. Oh man, is the back of this tarped? Oh, sons of bitches. This little truck. You troublemaking truck. Let's see. Seymour. It's okay. I was more of a PG Tips man myself, but American Consortium bought it and ruined it. PG Tips. Was ist das? I'm gonna look that up in a second. It's enclosed. I have a feeling that's going to be the tarp color as well. PG Tips. Oh, PG Tips tea. As long as it's not green tea. Green tea is not worth drinking. Black tea. I probably like it. I like black tea. Pyramid tea bags. You too can be a tea bagger. Search for PG Tips Monkey. Uh-oh. Well, the monkey's cute. Question is, what's the person has their hand up their ass like? Monkey, also known as the monkey. Monkey, also known as an ITV digital monkey or PG tips monkey, often pronounced Munke. Oh, okay. Look, I can pronounce that. Munke. Munke. It's my Munke. Imitation of Johnny Vegas's Lancashire accent. It is a puppet advertising character in the. Does nobody over there speak RP? What happened to you guys? Does nobody speak RP anymore? I'm going to be really disappointed, aren't I? I'm going to go over there to UK, spend 2 days. Nobody's going to talk like David Niven. I'm not going to understand anybody. You guys are going to be like, oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm going to like, is this a jungle? What the hell, you know? And there's people over here that speak like shit too, okay? So I'm not, you know. Yeah, it's all vowels. Well, I can respond back with oi, and that's about it, you know? RP is just a made up thing for the most part. Crap! Damn it! It's false advertising in your Hollywood. Everybody's gonna sound worse than Bert the chimney sweep. Oh man, PG tips brought out of bankruptcy by a vape company. Well, you know they say the vape stuff is really bad for you. I don't smoke anymore. It's been decades. It's been almost 3 decades. Thank goodness. But vaping is great for people that aren't vaping because you know you can kill yourself, but you're not creating a toxic cloud around everybody, you know? More like shocked than surprised. I'm going to be shocked, huh? I'm probably going to go to the UK and go, man, where's the white people at? Oh, man. Should get a t-shirt made for my trip up there. I said, I want, you know how they have that shirt that's, you know, my parents went to England and all I got is this t-shirt. I said, I went to the UK and all I got was the curry shits. Oh, man. You're a peppermint tea man myself. Oh, I never had that. Nail on the head. Oh, man. You know I love you guys. You guys are great. Oh, man. But I am disappointed in you guys. I am disappointed because and I'm disappointed in this country too. You know, I just think that the stuff that we made in the Second World War, well, some of your tanks had issues, but you know, you guys won, remember? So you could just throw the freaking toast and beans out the freaking window, like eat real food. It's the fucking Germans that should be eating freaking toast and bean and brown and black toast, and like the beans are like burnt on the bottom. Like make the Jerry's eat that. No, but I mean, you guys made the freaking Spitfire. I mean, you guys had some freaking winners. Like, there should be like some. You guys should be making some awesome cars and stuff like that. And they make shit cars here too. Don't get me wrong. I don't drive an a domestic car. It's just sad. But like I said earlier in one of the other programs a couple days ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, as an American, there are things that I understand that we take for granted, that we look through our own limited viewpoint, or at least I'm going to speak for all Americans in this respect. There's things that we just assume, and one of the things that, and I don't know whether this is just growing up here, but we have this idea that's beaten into us that this is the melting pot of the world, and that there is no, and by default, that the other countries are more uniform than we are, and that just isn't the case. Like, I was watching a mini series in Spanish several years ago, and I was surprised how many actors, of course it's actors, and they live in a faraway fairyland place. But anyways, how many people? I was expecting everybody to have Spanish last names. No, there's German names. There's people that look like they come from that, not look like that, but they have American last names. And I was like surprised. I'm like, wow, you mean there's other people from other countries and other countries? Like, it's just one of those things, that we just assume that this is the melting pot, And there's nothing wrong with it being a melting pot, but it's just like, I just assume that people's, like, you go to Italy, everybody's Italian there. You just assume that, and that's not the case, is it? Nobody here thinks I speak Spanish. I think I'm Italian, and I probably look more Italian than the people in Italy, or maybe I don't, but whatever. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Um, I'll have to do pronunciation classes, but I only have 2 days to train them. Oh man. And you just assume that almost everybody lives in London, and like, if it'd be the same thing, like that'd be like assuming everybody lived in New York, and who the hell would want to live in New York? Poor Marcus. Well, he's on a tour over there. He's doing time on the, he's doing time in New York. But I can't get into stuff that's like in New York, like Seinfeld, that show Seinfeld. I'm sure some of you've seen it. I don't watch it. It's like another world. It might as well just be another planet. Like, that's not how things are in the rest of the United States or a big city. I don't. I've never lived in a place where you can't take a car and park in front of the business you're going to. Like, oh, there's no parking here. Like, that's not American. You know, that's an alien place. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting how if I get to go, I always have to say that it'll be interesting to what I like better and what I don't like better. Actually, it's more interesting to see what I like better, because there's going to be things that I like better than here. There's no doubt about it. Don't watch Dick Van Dyke movies for revision. Well, okay, serious question, right? So I'm a big fan of the two movies. Well, I'm not a big fan. I grew up watching Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, right? And in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, he also plays an Englishman, which by the way, that's a great movie. Um, and he just does American accent because apparently the kickback was so bad from you guys with his fake Cockney that they just said, why don't you could play an Englishman again, but just use your regular voice. Is it really better? Is it really better for somebody to be playing in the Victorian time. Well, is it? I guess it's late Victorian time period to be playing an Englishman with an American accent as opposed to whatever his poppycock Cockney is. I think it's annoying. Like, what are you doing there with no accent? You know, like I get annoyed when people are playing a character and they don't make any attempt to sound like you know, they're French or something like that. They just have a regular English accent. I'm like, that's just ridiculous. Like, come on, somebody can train you to do that. You're an actor. I could do it with some training. I know they're probably thinking it's not important. Well, I think it is. And you can say whatever you want about Dick Van Dyke, but at least he didn't make England seem like one of the 10 worst empires in history. I'll find out where I saw that. You know, maybe it is. Maybe it is a good idea. Maybe it is a good idea that people consider Great Britain one of the 10 worst empires in history. Because if they weren't, they would have given up and not stood up to the damn Germans. And we'd all be fucked. When somebody says that, that's your guys' reply needs to be. Well, it's a good thing that we're blankety blank jingoistic whatever. Or we were blankety blank jingoistic assholes. Otherwise, you know, if we wouldn't have stood up to the Germans, you know, we'd all be fucked. There's your answer from an American. Man, the coffee's working its way. I'm ready to storm the beach without fire support. Okay, I think we got the base color on this bloody thing. Now we can start lightening it up. You know what I am going to have in England? Lemon curd. That stuff sounds great. It's probably terrible for me, but that sounds wonderful. Even though it does rhyme with turd. All right, now. No. I can't remove the roof. Well, we'll get in there. You can just save me some time getting in there. I've said it before. I can reach anything with a paintbrush that I can see. No response. You're probably aghast. Like that American likes our country more than we do. Oh man, HP sauce. Sauce. HP sauce. That doesn't sound. HP sauce. Let's see what we're looking at. You know the name of the city that I hate in England? I've never been to. That's available at Walmart. Catering size. I bet I won't like it. British brown sauce, many ingredients of which are tomatoes and tamarind extract. Okay, not bad so far. Houses of Parliament. Huh. Tomato base blended with malt vinegar and spirit vinegar. Sugar's starting to sound like ketchup. Starting to sound like ketchup. Houses of Parliament sauce. Uh-oh. Political sauce. Lemon curd is delicious. Try some ambrosia custard on a piece of ginger parkin if you come across any. Don't ever compare HP sauce to ketchup. It's got to be better. Ketchup is like the devil's excrement. Freaking hate that shit. And the two girls I live with like it. And I give them hell for it too. I should throw them out of the house. It's funny because it's like the only tomato thing I don't like. Like cocktail sauce is wonderful. Like, man, just replace it with that. You want to end up on a list of people worse than Hitler? Keep up the HP sauce slander. People worse than Hitler. Who's worse than Hitler? That's debatable. People that murder millions and kill their own dog, because at least he was nice to his dog, right? Blondie. I've never tried it. I said I'd try it. But the ingredient list sounds like ketchup, man. When you start adding vinegar, white vinegar, and sugars, it's starting to sound kind of bad. No lie, though, I'm surprised Parkin hasn't found its way over to America. We just accept immigration as bringing our that brings our country down. All right, we got to be careful to dust this and not get on the other ones, or we'll have to play cleanup, which is a waste of time. I saw a ridiculous vid saying Churchill and someone like Mannerheim were worse than Hitler. Oh, you got to find that and send it to me. That's absurd. That is absurd. Hey man, we're both the son of immigrants. There we go. Yeah, but our immigrants got here legally. Nobody hates immigrants here in this. Okay, yes. There's some redneck dudes in the mountains or whatever, or in the swamp. No shoe wearing people in the swamp that don't like immigrants. We just want people getting here like they're supposed to get here. That's all. It's not even fair to other immigrants. There's some people that waited 10 years to become immigrants. You can't just like walk in here and get in front of them. That's not cool, you know? That's not cool. I'm sure that's the same way in the UK. I mean, sure, you always have extremists. What's the flavor of the month name for them over there? Right wing extremists. Yeah, right wing extremists. That's anybody who's not taking part in a strike, right? My mother did get deported from here back to the U.S. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's that tone. All right, and Did we? I think we did use white for this. It was only a visa issued, not like treason or anything. I know the only people guilty of treason these days are in the government. Oh, I'm sorry. I said it out loud. Hey, maybe that's been going all along and we were just stupid and didn't know any better, but the rest of us, we're not gonna betray our country just because, somebody buys us a third yacht. I was raised that, you can't buy everything. And apparently that's not the same thing for some people. There's some things you can't buy, man. Your honor. Hey, what's happening? Yeah, I got here early. What are you doing? Working? Pretending to work? It's not 5 o'clock, man. Get back on the clock. Oh, wait, you're the boss. You can do whatever you want. Okay, yeah, we're on the right track. We just need to keep making it a little brighter and brighter. So how do you pronounce? I guess I could just Google this up. How do you pronounce the number 4 in Chinese so that it sounds like, what did you say it sounded like? Like something bad that makes 4 a bad number. Let's see. Hey, I could probably look that up. Why is 4 a bad number? Okay, here we go. Due to pronunciation or association with death. Okay, the number 4 is pronounced C, which sounds like the word for death. In Cantonese, the numbers 4, 14, and 24 are associated with death because they sound like the words for death, must die, and easy to die. Oh, so if I have a tank that has like no armor, I should give it a number 24. Easy to die. In some Chinese buildings, floors and room numbers with 4 are omitted. Yeah, I always like being in an elevator that doesn't have a 13th floor. And when somebody goes on there and they press, number 14, I said, well, you're really going to the 13th floor. You realize that? And they'll be like, oh, really? Yeah, it's a number, man. Like, chillax. Sounds like sa. Sa. Okay. Well, here it just says S-I. So, sa. The number 4 is sometimes pronounced she or sh, which is or is it sh? In hospitals or hotels, level room 4 is sometimes not included. Maternity section of a hospital, the room number 43 is avoided because it can mean stillbirth. Some companies have avoided using the number. Man, there's some superstitious people out there, man. I thought it was just people from Eastern Europe. I'm not superstitious at all. Shame you don't bake. I have a local recipe for white-collar cake that makes a good case against the bad reputation our cooking has. Yeah, your cooking has terrible reputation. Sorry. I didn't decide that all of a sudden, nobody in England, that English food was terrible, that's all. I didn't have somebody that said that Scottish food was created on a dare. That's what he said. I don't know. I'll make my own. I'll make my own determination of that. But just imagine how bad your food would have been if the Normans wouldn't have invaded. It'd be like eating mud. Maybe more like shia. It's a tough phonetic. Chinese is tough as you have 4 different tones. I could bake, but then I wouldn't paint. And you're not going to watch my baking show, are you? Oh, we're gonna put this in the oven and we're gonna cook it for a little while. Oh man. Angus McLeod. Angus McLeod. What are you doing to that sheep? It's a new delicacy called haggis. Yeah, you're not supposed to serve that with your. I'll leave that right there. Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay, a little bit more white on there. Fade that thing. Desert sun. Yeah, I won't be trying haggis, but I don't eat filters and stuff like that. They had one of these places that we're going, I don't remember which place, in Spain, has a delicacy that they say you need to try this suckling pig or something like that. I'm like, I'm not eating a pig with a fucking face on it, okay? I've done that before. I am a big fan of pork and ham, but when you eat something that's pork and ham and it tastes like this doesn't taste like what I'm used to pork and ham tasting like, you're probably eating a part you shouldn't be eating. Haggis is just blach pudding and oatmeal. We would get by. The Romans brought us rabbits. They eat a lot of rabbits in the homeland. I don't think I'm going to try it. There was this little. Oh, here's a Marcus thing. So, Marcus, there's this place. What's it called in New York? It's right by where the Intrepid is. Is it the Intrepid that's there? I think it's the Intrepid. And this place is actually pretty cool. This, it's called Little Spain, and you've probably already been there. And it is. I do everything with maps, so this place is called. It's that pier. Whatever the pier is. And it's like a mall and everything. And they have this little place called Little Spain, which looks like a little village inside. And there's like little places you can get different stuff. And we're like, oh, I'm going to try, we're going to get like, make our own tapas. Like, get some from here, get some from this place, have the awesome Spanish beer that they had there, and different things. And we're going to order paella. And their paella to me is it's rice, yellow rice with seafood in it. And they may have chicken in it. But this one had like one seafood item and the other one had rabbit. I'm like, I'm not eating rabbit. That's not paella. Sorry. Tastes like savory chicken, probably more like pigeon. Chiskin. Oh, I haven't been yet. Know what you're talking about, though. Yeah, that place is pretty cool. You should go in there just to walk in. That place is pretty neat. Whatever it's called, the pier there. It's right there at the base where the Intrepid is. I don't know which pier it is, but it's one of those. They have that one place, a little island. It's like a freaking fake island in the middle of the Hudson. Is it Chelsea Pier? Anyways, that place is pretty cool. That place is pretty cool. A little more white. So you guys have a bunch of people in the UK like they do in the United. Well, we don't have a lot of people in the United States, but well, they shut the hell up about it. But they get offended by the flag. You got guys that just run around like get offended by the Union Jack. Probably. I think it's a badass flag myself. There's only one thing I don't like about the Union Jack is the jackass. Maybe that's why it's called Jack. The jackass that created it on the cross, on the red cross, it's not in the middle of the white. It's like off to one side on one and staggered on the other one, and it's like that's wild. I don't know why they did that. That's my only gripe. And if Scotland splits off, it flags the Union Jacks don't look like shit. You know? You prefer the saltire. You know which one I like? I like your soccer flag. That thing is badass. You know, the one with the blue lions? That thing looks awesome. You should just replace it with that. Like that should be. Oh yeah, you like the Scottish flag's cool, you know? And the old Scottish flag was cool too. With the lion. I'm a big fan of having animals on your flag. Unless it's like a pigeon or, a diseased armadillo or some shit, A bent over coyote blowing a horn out of his ass or something. Yeah, I don't want that shit. Yeah, the Union Jack looks like shit if it doesn't have the saltire in it. You know? Doesn't look right. Uh-oh, what'd you send me, Marcus? Oh. Size Gambara. Well, he doesn't need any tires on that car. I will be on soon. I've decided to make a staff car for Gambara next. Well, he doesn't need to put tires on it because he never moved. I watched that video. Union flag needs a redesign. Well, it's the best version of it. That's the current version is the best one they've had so far. Okay. Where is Gambara? But is that really the case? Bo. Where's he from? Any of you guys watch Tick? Where's Tick from in the UK? Is he a Londoner? Actually, he has an accent that's pretty interesting, pretty easy to understand, except it's not City Resai. And I listened to him enough that I started saying it myself. That's the problem with my chameleonism. I listen to somebody for too long. I bet 2 days in the UK, I'm going to pick up something that my wife's going to be like, why did you pick that up from these people? Because I always pick things up from folks. And then it'll disappear again. Where's Gambara? Yeah, he's playing with that South African's peepee. Those guys were worthless in that battle. What was his name? Pinar. Pinar and Gambara. Freaking useless. Pinar is probably like, remember the Boer War? Fuck you, I'm not moving. Oh, man. Time to paint the eyes on Brum. Yeah, kids shows. My favorite kids show that my daughter would watch is that little French, the French penguin. What's his name? Pingu. Nerd, nerd. But I love stop animation, claymation, anything that's like that. You know, when you bring like a toy to life, I like that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think he's French. They all when they speak, it's some Frenchish sounding thing. Damn, this thing's sexy. Man, the lighting is whacked in here. There we go. Where the hell is the camera on this thing? Why is it so damn blurry? Alright, what color are the seats inside this bloody thing? You got a figure from Gambara? Gambino. Morris. C W, no, CDSW. Images. Probably some kind of brown. Let's see. Yep. You know what I'm going to use? It looks like it's similar to the color of the roof. We're going to paint the same color. I really like these non-combat vehicles. Well, this could be a combat vehicle. You get in this thing and you see 4 or 5 head of Jerry, just downshift and just run into them. Look, this thing even has a plow on it. How many Jerrys can you plow? Anyway, so doing this counter scheme was really empowering. It makes me want to do more. I mean, not on everything. If it doesn't take it, like my Crusaders aren't going to have counter scheme. They apparently, I think, are all going to be light stone. But, you know, they can be light stone and still have, you know, interesting stuff on them. You know, it's a good color. Let's go a little bit darker than that. If I knew that, I would have just painted this the seat the same color. When I paint, I want things to turn out well, not necessarily be efficient. Okay. Oh, I don't know that we... This is a little tarp as well. It's like something that belongs on an ice cream truck. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good use in the desert. Ice cream truck. Well, I got kind of a working weekend. We got to move the daughter out or big things this weekend, but it's still a weekend. So, That's always appreciated. My daughter has a gymnastics meet tomorrow, but I'll be on until about 7. Okay. Well, you'll catch the best of me then, because I gotta leave. I don't know what time we're leaving, but I don't think I'll be stopping filming before 8. So it's funny when you talk to some people like, yeah, we gotta be at something at 8. I gotta be at something at 8 o'clock on a weekend. Man, that's early. I'm like, okay, okay, slacker. And I don't mind there not being any figures in there. I'd rather there not be figures in there, and you say people are driving, than having figures in there and you say that there's nobody in there. It's very distracting to have people in a vehicle and they're not really there. Yeah, the sport that my daughter ended up doing was synchronized swimming, and we did a fair amount of traveling with that, which is why I ended up with these cards, staying at the hotel. I'm like, why are you staying in the hotels? Because she did it for several years, and she ended up going to the Junior Olympics in Colorado Springs. I wasn't able to go with her, but kind of a cool thing. But the thing I dislike about competitive stuff for kids are the other parents. Man, they're just like, it's almost like they failed at life, and like all of their dreams are like on this child like being some Olympic athlete that is like look, it's a fun pastime, you know? Does she still swim at university? She does not. She does not. They don't have that. It's actually, you'd be surprised how many schools have synchronized swimming. Very few. And you would think it'd be like, something easy to do. Like if you got a pool, why wouldn't you have that? I mean, there's very few, like 10% of the schools that have that. So yeah, she doesn't do that. But I thought it was pretty good. We'd go to meets and stuff, and it was all great until there was a Miami team. Man, those parents were just dickheads. They want to cheat and do stuff they're not supposed to, and they won't shut up when they're making announcements. It's the Bronx of the South. Oh, man. Yeah, she's got a really busy schedule, though, but she'll be back on like Wednesday or Thursday this week. She's gonna be with us until we go to Spain, so she'll be here about a month. So give me some movie recommendations I can watch with the Deuter. We started watching the old 1976 Midway, and well, we started too late. I fell asleep. You late now? We're still going, man. Welcome back, man. South Kakalaki in the house. You're never late. You arrive when you arrive. That's when you were supposed to. Right on cue. You'll be watching Tora 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 tomorrow. Have you seen it before? Oh, that's right. It's that day. My daughter actually saw it. I probably saw it as a kid, so I saw it relatively recently again. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good. I won't be watching it tomorrow though. Shouldn't really be shouldn't be celebrating that day. You should be celebrating the day you dropped the bomb on them. Like, man, why you need to celebrate like winning stuff? Like 9/11. You shouldn't even mention that. Great movie. A dwarf arrives precisely when he means to. You mean a hobbit? Isn't that from that movie? I don't know. I'm not a movie quoter. I think you're right on schedule. My wife does not like me saying that. I'm like, I'm going to be saying that in English, just so you know. I actually like that. I actually like the way you guys pronounce that. Schedule. It's silly. No, it's appropriate when you say it over there. All right, now we need some black lining on the stuff we just painted fadey. Yes, that's the correct terminology. It's fadey. You're not that short. Dad and I have a tradition to watch every time the 7th of December rolls around. Yeah, I remember it being pretty decent. Was your dad in the service? So we should celebrate August 6th and 9th. No, it's a shame that they used that weapon. That's the worst invention ever. But I wish nobody would have invented that. No, but it's like a dismal kind of failure. Like, yep, Pearl Harbor, we got our ass beat. Do you celebrate like the death of famous people? Like, you celebrate, Martin Luther King's on his birthday, right? Not on the day he got shot. Like, same thing with President's Day, right? President's Day was George Washington's birthday, right? Not the day he croaked. So I'm reading this book off and on called An Army at Dawn. It's a three-part series that's recommended to me by a history buff person in our model meeting. And I knew it was something completely different when I read the foreword. And that sounds weird. How can you know? Man, because the foreword was interesting. And it's starting with Operation Torch. Unfortunately, it's tremendously focused on the Americans, and I prefer things that focus on all sides. But it is what it is. But there's all kinds of stuff I didn't know about Operation, including like just shit that just goes terribly wrong you never hear about. It's an interesting read. It's a really interesting read. So Dunkirk is celebrated in the UK. All right, UKers. I should just come up with a name for you guys. Uckers. Who are the Uckers? You guys over there. I read something recently about Dunkirk. Not my area of expertise. But this said that had the Dunkirk evacuation not happened, it's likely that Britain would have sued for peace. I don't think that's the case. But what do you guys think? Yay or nay? And then this same thing said that Hitler thought the Panzer divisions were overextended, so he put a stop to them. I'm like, I don't know. Seems a little not my area of expertise. Sounds too close to you fuckers. Uckers. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the UK. You guys know that. I was having this conversation with somebody else. I forgot who the hell it was. I think it was somebody that wasn't native and a Native American. A Native American? No, I mean like, somebody who's one of us. And I was saying that basically when you call somebody an American, it is assumed that it is somebody from the United States of America. Like you don't call Canadians Americans. I mean, well, they're North Americans. They're not. They're Canadians. They're their own thing. And I don't mean to, because I got anything against Canadians. Just that's just what it is. I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you. You call somebody like Americans. It's people from the United States. You know, I understand Mexico's in North America. Nobody says, hey, those North Americans think, oh, I wonder if he means the Mexicans. He's not fucking talking about the Mexicans, you know? They had already sent out peace feelers through Sweden to find out what terms would be demanded by the Germans. Yeah, well, it's a good thing they didn't give up. Again, all you had to do is not get involved in the first one. Wouldn't have been an issue. That's my famous time machine. My famous time machine. World War One doesn't happen, or the Germans win in 1914. I think the world's a better place. There's a lot more people alive, or maybe that's a bad thing, or maybe the people that want to, want folks to die off wouldn't like that. Let's paint the stuff on the rim here. This little thing has like I said, I really misjudged Airfix. I just thought Airfix just didn't have much detail. There's a lot of detail on this thing. Maybe this is a redone kit. Is this one of those that's been like when I would have seen it in the 70s or something like that, it wouldn't have looked as good, and it's been refurbed? I think it's got a pretty good amount of detail on it. I mean, the gun crew's a little, Rundstedt ordered the Panzers to stop. So he blew it, huh? You call Canadian Leafs because their flag has an oak leaf. I need to find somebody who's a lady who's Canadian so I can call her a leaf blower. Oh, man. No, it's the original sculpt from 76. It's got a lot of really good detail. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. How's the half track with the 88 millimeter gun? Is it a piece of shit? Leaf blowers for the win. That's funny. I just like saying shit that's on my mind. Yeah, I'm the same way in person. No point pretending to be or somebody else. I don't like meeting people that are like, you encounter people in the real world and they're like, man, you're different than you are online. Like, it's too difficult to be somebody else. There's a couple guys that I've encountered that are like, man, you guys are totally different than you are on your video. And there's one guy that's exactly the same. And I even told him, I said, dude, you're like the same in real life as you are on your video. I said, I appreciate that. Sad we don't use half tracks anymore. I think they're cool. I think they're cool too. Although somebody called them, they really should be called quarter track or something because a quarter of them is track. I don't know, something like that. That you should be called something else. Well, it's too late. It's not going to catch on. Half tracks it is. Everybody knows them as half tracks. You should have won the patent, sir. Half tracks it is. Yeah, I think they're pretty cool too. And everybody has cool half tracks. I'd say probably the least cool half track, and it's still pretty cool, is the American one. It's probably the most reliable one, easily, But a lot of the things, a lot of the vehicles that are American that I don't like how they look, is because they use this suspension that is extremely practical. It's just not attractive. Let me see if I can pull one of them down. And the Shermans have the same thing, but it's extremely practical. I don't know if the same. Let's pull out Edith here. Edith the 11. Man, lettering's kind of fading. Well, we just have to go over the lettering. So the Sherman had this kind of suspension type leaf kind of thing where you could just replace the whole thing and put it with another one so you can get rolling quick. Instead of, like the Germans, you got to make a special order to the factory to, do all this other kind of stuff. But it's still a pretty good half track. But the Japanese one looks badass. It's probably a piece of shit. The Italians had one too. My favorite one, and I'll have to find it. I don't remember what the hell it's called. But it's not the Panzer, not the one with the rockets, but it looks similar to that, like a completely enclosed one with rockets. I'll show you what it is. It's got one of them really long Germanic, racist, angry sounding names. I hear the wife is here. Let me find out what this is. I know that one of the guys on Iron Horse Collectibles that he has access to is one of them. Hold on one second. Let's find out what this half track is called. It's super cool, and I'd seen it before, but I don't remember what the hell it's called because it just has a weird ass freaking name. Iron Horse Collectibles. Let's see. I want to say it's made by Wargame 3D, and these people have a ton. These guys have a fetish for German half tracks. I believe it's this one. Nope, incorrect. It must be this one. That's the one. Okay, it's called a SDKFZ 8 DB10 Gepanzert 12 ton. This thing looks freaking awesome. Oh, let me show you what this thing looks like. I don't really like inner 11 road wheels. They're a pain to paint. They're definitely a pain to fix. Here's another shot of it. This thing looks badass. So it's bigger than an SDKFZ. It's a lot bigger. Like look at the size of the figures. It's a lot bigger than SDKFZ 251. Half track in 88 is very basic. It's meant to be built in traveling mode, as the crew is molded seating in the half track, no gun crew, a bit like the Matador and the 5.5-inch gun. Well, you can't use a 5.5-inch gun on the table. You direct fire that thing, and you have a blast radius the size of half the table. 5.5-inch gun. Good lord. Yeah, well, I had the gun crew with the other 88, and I wanted to build that one with in traveling mode because 88 looks great firing in traveling mode. I think it looks badass. So I don't really need the gun crew. Yeah, they look like dorks sitting in there, like a bunch of guys sitting in there in a group with a jackboot up each one of their asses. German half tracks look cooler, but American half tracks are far more alive. Absolutely. In combat, the American half tracks have very little armor. The German half tracks have a lot more, but they really shouldn't be going into that. But looks like something Hydra would make from the Marvelverse. 251 was built on an SDKFZ chassis, so it will be smaller. So I guess this is built on the chassis of the SDKFZ 8. So therefore it's bigger. Which I guess that one is the same core that normally hauls the 88. There's the 9's even bigger. The SDKFZ 9's even bigger. No, or is that the 7? I don't know, these Nazi bastards. Anyhow, I was trying to find out, okay, I get one of those. Who the hell makes it? Now, the Japanese one, even though it's a piece of junk, because only the Japanese stuff from the 1980s now is worth a damn. Hoki. It's called a Hoki. Oh, that's the wrong one. Armored car, amphibious truck, a lorry. Ho-ha, that's what it is. Type 1 ho-ha. Ho-ha. This thing looks awesome, too. Look at this thing. Gotta run the night. Plus, you gotta find Gambara. This one looks great. And the Italians had one too. I actually like a lot of the Japanese vehicles look, even though they're garbage. I don't care that they're garbage. Armored personnel carrier. I know they make one. They may just not have a picture of it. Like this Italian tank, an L6. This thing is cute as hell. It's a piece of crap, but I don't care. Where is Gambara? All right, I gotta use the little boys' room. I'll be right back. The hull is almost boat-like. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Or there is one that's actually amphibious. The Japanese stuff is great if they don't encounter anybody with vehicles. It's just, you know, the Japanese stuff is meant to fight the Italians. And they're really the only ones. Actually, the Italian stuff is like awesome compared to the Japanese stuff. At least, tank wise. Japan. You got an amphibious thing. Amphibious truck. Asuki. Oh, I love these names. Oh, this is a piece of shit. Oh, this is like the world's. How about we put the wheels on a boat? It's like something Donald Duck would drive around. This is the Kami. That's a tank. This thing's actually pretty cool, but I would think it wouldn't have much armor on the front of it. Or it would sink. Is that like a little temple in the back? Sure looks like it. Come in. If you go inside there and rub the genie and ask him for a wish. That's what it looks like. Prime mover. Wow, I've never seen one of these before. That's probably about the right color it should be painted. It's a Japanese uniform. Isuzu Lorry, yeah, those look like the Soviet trucks. Artillery observation tankette. Yeah. Which is the first tank? Is it the whole? It's not this one. I can't stand the number of their system, the way things are called. It's this one. It's this iGo. I actually like the way the iGo looks. It's a bit front heavy. Japanese aren't known for making reliable vehicles. Not in the Second World War, and now I wouldn't drive anything other than a Japanese vehicle. It did not help that more resources that got poured into the Imperial Navy and the Army made the rival even more bitter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it also doesn't help. Hey, let's have unreliable vehicles when we're fighting in a jungle. Like, whoops. Okay, back to the Black Lightning. Yeah, the U.S. vehicles of the Second World War are, bar none, almost all of them, more reliable than anything else that was running around. Like in the desert, the Honeys were like a lot more reliable than all the British cruiser tanks. And a lot of it was, just the hostile environment they were in. Like if they'd been like in some kind of a non-hostile zone, they would perform better. The Germans had stuff with problems with their vehicles too. I say that Toyota is reliable as fuck, better than Ford and GM at the moment. I say that around. I drive it. I just don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand why, the best vehicles in the world aren't British and American. Like now, but I would love to have a domestic vehicle, but it just isn't. Just even styling wise, I don't like them. Although. Which Dodge do you have, by the way? I think that Challenger is a beautiful vehicle on the outside. And then you get inside, I'm like, man, this is just like weird. Like I'm used to like where everything is on a Japanese vehicle, like turn on the lights, windshield wiper, all this. You get in a German vehicle, and things are like backwards. You got like almost like face away from the steering wheel to like know where things are. It's just really really weird. We did a Toyota lease for 9 years. We did 3 leases with them, and the co did it's not a Ram though, right? I heard that a couple years ago that the Ram actually split off from the Dodge name. I'm like, okay, whatever. Now all those are opened by some what Stellaris group or something like that, like corporate takeover bullshit. Like, just make a good vehicle, man. People buy it if it's a good vehicle. I just don't understand. Like, I would love to have a Jeep. Not a World War II Jeep, like a modern Jeep. They're too expensive. I mean, it look cool with all that suspension and stuff. I don't need that. But they're just not reliable. They're not, reliable compared to, other stuff. But those Japanese vehicles are becoming more unreliable because they have too much technology in there that they're cramming them full of technology that the kinks haven't been worked out yet, and it's all has to do with that lane assist and all this other crap that you don't need in a vehicle. Ram's a full size truck. Okay, so they didn't split off in the. It's the last of the mid sized trucks before they discontinue. Oh, they don't make them anymore. Oh, I remember when trucks were cheaper than cars. Car would be, I don't know, 15 grand, then a truck would be 12. Now, it was a truck without all the bells and whistles and, 'cause they got some fancy ass trucks. Closest thing I had to a truck was I had an Xterra that I bought used, and I really liked that vehicle. But it is extremely. I like that. I liked aesthetically. I liked that vehicle, and I liked how far up off the ground we were, because that's far up. That's up off the ground for me. I'm used to. I'm a coupe guy, and yeah, you can keep an eye on the person that's in front of the person in front of you. You know, and but man, the gas mileage on that thing was horrendous. Just horrendous gas mileage, and I had all kinds of issues with it. I was a big fan of Nissan, and I won't buy another Nissan because their air conditioning is just unreliable. No longer make Dakotas. Mine is the Longhorn variant of the Dakota, which is flex fuel. Yeah, Dodges, it seems like they bring them in for a couple of years and like, oh, these aren't doing well. Pull them out. This was before the division was bought off by the Italians, and now it's Stellaris or some shit. Yeah, it's weird. All right, we're gonna have to do several layers of this because we want this black lining on this tarp to pop, and it doesn't help that the etchings or the raised things on this are very very subtle. They're too subtle. So we'll have to take the extra effort to make them pop out. And we can do. Why is this light fighting me? There we go. Why is it blurry? Is it clear back here? I should take a picture of it. Without this light. This light is just it's too powerful. right, this is what we want to make this. We want to get this to pop. European made crap. Not that GM and Ford is any better. Miss the days when this country could make things worth a damn. Me too, man. Me too. My mom bought a station wagon that was it was a Renault. Nobody could fucking fix it. It was like a lemon. It was like the lemon of lemons. The 1981 lemon of lemons. Actually, until this car that I drive now, every car I had was a Japanese car that was made in the United States or was assembled here or whatever. Maybe it was just a there was just some samurai sitting there with a whip, cracking the whip. You will not take another break. You know. The one I have now, like even the fucking tires are made in Japan. It's like extreme. It's like whoa, you know, like. And that just happens to be. I didn't ask for that. That's just how it played out. But you know what? Cars are a shitload safer now than they used to be. I mean, like, just tremendously safer. I've been chewing through DBA videos and I don't see many elephants. Oh, they're in there. Crazy stuff happens when you play with elephants. We try to mix it up. We try to do videos that always had a theme. Japanese make some of the best tire. Yokohama. That's what I think. That's what's on my car. I think they're Yokohamas. I didn't pick them. That's what they came with. So that'll work. And they're supposed to be like a 30,000 mile tire, which honestly is pretty low lifespan. And I'm running about 42 and still have them. And I'm gonna try to get as much juice out of them as I can. I was like, hey, you got to switch them out. It's like, yeah, we're good. They're expensive, man. But I'm sold on all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is incredible. Your tires wear out evenly. It's weird when the tires are new. I swear, it's too grippy. Like you're driving and it's like you're freaking adjusting it all the time because they're all like, it's kind of like every tire wants to be center stage. So they'll wear down a little bit, kind of get in a groove. Okay, make that little grating pop. Nexons. Quality steadily going down like everything else. Yeah, I never heard of Nexons, but I'm. Wait, no, my wife has Yokos. I have Dunlops. Although I think the Dunlops are made in Japan too. I think that's what they are. What does it have? My first car had some Goodyear something or others, and those were really good tires as well. Yeah, there were Sport Max Dunlops. Yeah, they lasted pretty well. You also have to take care of them, rotate them. Not burn rubber every chance you get. Michelin is arguably the best, but the most expensive. Dunlop was originally Irish and was bought out by a Japanese company, I think. Uh, Whiskey takeover. Hey, nobody really minds a takeover by another company as long as things get better. But that's not usually the case, is it? They're usually like, man, we overpaid for this shit. We gotta cut corners. How we cut corners? I know, we'll make things that are shitty. Saki takeover. I have some Japanese whiskey. It's not bad. Not bad for blended. Yeah, but Japanese World War II vehicles are crap. Your first car with a Chevy S10 pickup. Yeah. A friend of mine had one of those as his first vehicle. We'd ride in the back of it too. Like I couldn't do that anymore. But that's people didn't drive, looking at their phones back then because there were no phones. Now everybody's got their head stuck in their phone. Or worried about somebody going to merge into you. I almost had some lady merge into me the other day. I saw her coming though. She had a dumb look about her. And you get a feeling like this person's not playing with a full deck. So the bad news is that this pin wash that I'm using, is pretty light. The good news is that if you screw up and you don't like it, it just ends up being light. So you just have to go over things multiple times if you want them darker. But I was surprised how similar it behaves to the panel liner from Tamiya. Although the Tamiya is not water based, so I'm not a fan of enamel anything. It's just I want water cleanup and I don't want fumes. And I also don't want to clear coat this whole thing just to use the other thing because it'll like eat the paint and stuff. 1991 four-wheel drive with a manual transmission. That's like the same truck that my buddy had. Was it graphite colored? Went hunting, fishing, and mudding with it. It's an amphibious truck. I went fishing with it. Yours was black. What's the objective of mudding? To go through something so big that you almost get stuck but you don't, or to get stuck? The problem with the muddying people is some people you're like, man, you need to spend less money on your ATV and more money on your teeth. I'm sorry, tooth. Those things are expensive, man. I don't have anything against that kind of stuff, but to find the deepest and muddiest pit, see if your truck can drive through it without getting stuck. And prepare to be stuck. Didn't spend any money on my truck, didn't even bother with a lift kit. Yeah, you start adding that stuff on there, and an inexpensive vehicle turns into, you know, an expensive vehicle. Like these people take like a Honda Civic and they put so much money into the wheels and everything. It's like you could have just, with all the money you spent, you could have just bought a vehicle with some more ass. It's a redneck thing, I reckon. No, I don't have anything against it. I'm just wondering what the objective is. That's all. Probably more fun than hunting. I don't have anything against hunting. It's just not for me. A lot of those hunting rifles are those weird calibers that are like the hell's 243 and shit like that. Like make believe numbers and stuff like that. Like give me some military style size rounds. That's what makes sense to me, not just weird stuff. I don't want to use any guns without a magazine. Come on, man. Only thing I spent on my Dakota was a camper shell to reduce wind resistance and make it a sleeper out of it in a pinch. Yeah, like I said, they're too expensive now, man. They used to be cheap. Like, okay, like in '91 when you bought that thing, that S10 would cost. See, what would be? See, S10 was like an entry level Chevy truck. So, what was an entry level Chevy car at that time? Whatever it would have been, it probably cost 30% more than the S10. So, say the S10 cost, shit, what are the entry level? Maybe not like the really, really small Chevy, but the next thing up. Yeah, this is. I lived. 1991 was the other day. No, it wasn't, but I remember it like it was the other day. 1991 Chevy cars. Here we go. Astro. Astro wasn't a Chevy. That was a freaking Ford minivan. Why is it on here? Oh, a Chevy Astro? What the hell is that? This is the wrong site. This site's no good. Caprice, Lumina. Yep. Yeah, but what's this small entry car? Those are all big vehicles. Biggish. All those vehicles are bigly. JD Power. Beretta. Beretta was actually a good looking car. But it was a Cavalier, okay? A Cavalier would be, man, I had a friend of mine who had an 86 Cavalier and he spent no money on the maintenance. And he was making this horrible sound, right? And we go and look at it and he had worn out his brake. It's got it's got a disc brake and the pad that was on this clamp, and it sits on here like this, okay? Obviously, and then this is the part that breaks along the disc. This was gone. And it was basically breaking on the two things that were holding it together. And it was cutting a groove through his rotor. I'm like, man, you're lucky to be freaking alive. You gotta spend money. You gotta spend money on maintenance of vehicles, man. If you don't spend money on the engine, you don't go anywhere. You don't spend money on the brakes, you're gonna go everywhere. So, that S10 was $2,000, 2000 used and $2,003. Well, there you go. That seems like a good deal. Cavalier. Yeah, I always liked the way the Beretta looked. I bet it has a shit engine in it though. I'm all about 0 to 60. You know, that's one of the few enjoyments you can have in life. Is getting up to the speed limit as fast as you can. Let's see. They made a 2.2 and a V6, 120 to 160. That's terrible. And that's a 96 version. That's absolutely terrible. Had 1,000 pound towing capacity? Wow. The domestic car I always thought that looked pretty good was was the um, was the Ford what's it called, Ford Probe, the one of the two versions of it. Yeah, this I think that's a good looking car. I mean, it's got good lines. Looks like a Prelude. Shape wise, I'm a big fan of two door cars. You know, they just don't make them anymore. That's a good looking car. Chevrolet Corsica was introduced. Yeah, Corsica is like a four door Beretta, if I remember correctly. Oh shit! I was gonna check on the wife at 6. Your dream car is a '69 Camino SS with a 396. Man, I can't take turns good enough though, man. I don't give a shit about turns. I want to go fast. I do too. I want to take the turns fast. Man, once you do a all-wheel drive, man, I could take a 90-degree turn at 45 miles an hour. I don't want to do that, but you know, if you need to, it's there. And I want to get up to 60 fast. You know, and I don't want to pay $80,000 for a car, or 60 or 50. Yeah. Well, you just don't appreciate what a rice rocket is. That's all. Rice burner. No, rice rocket is a like a ninja. Rice burner. I wanted to get that on my vanity plate. Somebody might get offended. And look, if I thought Japanese cars were a piece of shit, I wouldn't drive one. I think they're awesome, and we eat a lot of rice too. So what's wrong with it? I don't give a shit about turns. Sounds like some. Sounds like somebody's a drag racer. Like these people that are into what's the thing called where you're sliding all over the place? Drifting. If you're drifting, you're going too fast, man. That's unsatisfying feeling. It's a controlled crash. All right, and then what we're going to do after we do this, because the black is sloppy in a few places, not much, but a little bit. I come in there and do a little dusting back of the colors that we went over, and that kind of gets everything to kind of behave together. And this does have markings. I think I'm going to use the markings that come with it. It's for the anti-aircraft unit of the 7th Armored Division, which is exactly what I want it to be. Where is it? Did we already put the decals in with the other ones? I think we did. We put them in with the other Commonwealth decals. And I'm saving this beautiful roundel for something else. I'm not putting this on the roof. Yeah, these are actually nice decals. Yeah, we're gonna use them all on this one, except the roundel. We're gonna save this for like a Desert Sherman or something like that. Man, they're freaking big though. Well, it's nice I've been able to use the super readers on this. I didn't have to take my contacts out. How long have we been on here? Wow. Excellent. Well, we'll have a show tomorrow morning. I don't know what the hell we'll work on tomorrow morning. This thing's probably going to be done enough that we won't be able to, that we're done with this. Probably jump on the German armored cars. Gotta do some bad guys. Gotta bring these things. Right now they look like crap. Like, oh, you painted them the wrong color. Trust the process. I would agree, other than trust the process. I found that doing the German half track. So, it turned out exactly how I wanted it to turn out. Oh, we still have drippings to do. So we have a little bit left. Man, it looks like it's freaking 10 o'clock at night out there, and it's 6:30. This time change is just brutal. Unforgivingly brutal. You know, you do modern vehicles, and one vehicle that I always think is really cool, I don't know how you use it in a scenario, is that British Arm. Actually, I like a lot of British armored cars. There's some that are ugly as shit, okay, but there's some that are pretty cool. The Saladin is a cool armored car. Really cool armored car. I remember I had a little die-cast toy of it, and I always liked it. But that's one of those armored cars that has like a weird HE only type of gun, right? It's like a 75, or I don't even know what size freaking gun it is, but it's like a HE only type of gun, if I remember correctly. But you can't use that in any conflict because they didn't use it in the Middle East. I don't think the Israelis used them or anything like that. But I always liked the way the Saladin looked. Oh, armored car for sale. Okay. I'll take 3. Man, that looks good. Man, it's a good looking vehicle. And I like that green with the damn near black on it. Just looks really good. A future project. Oh, Jeffrey. Yeah, I love that scheme. I love the Rhino. I love the Rhino. Yeah, the Rhino looks freaking great. But you know what? Miniatures look better than the real thing because this looks like shit. Because these rivets don't stand out. See how they've got like a light dust on the on in the space between the rivet and where it meets the thing, and that's how it would look like in real life. You know, you'd have dust that would accumulate that, but that doesn't work 3 feet away. They'll have all these details on this model, and it'll look like you just want, you know. So you got to make those things pop. So yeah, I'd paint that. Mine would look better than that. I love that Rhino symbol. That's there's I mean, in some ways the British armored symbols are better than the German ones. They're more creative. You know, they got these fun bright numbers on them. You know, some of the British armored units have stupid symbols on them. Like anything that has like the Diabolo thing, that's just dumb. Like an hourglass thing, that's just lame as hell. But you got a Rhino, you got the fist. You know, the armored fist. That's some cool stuff. And this is more of a Cold War thing, but my favorite armored car is the M706 Gauge Commando. I want to say like I know what that is. You like it better than a Luke's? A Luke's is a freaking badass armored car. It guns kind of, but let's see, what do we call it? M706. That's like a Vietnam thing, isn't it? 706 Gauge Commando. You're going commando. That's cute. Didn't they also make like a V100 or something like that? It's a good looking armored car. Looks better with a freaking turret on it. By the way, are those wheels like resistant to bullets? They've got to be, right? You've been following the pictures he has been posting on Facebook, his trip to a tank museum. Who is it? Is somebody I know? I don't get to go to the tank museum. It's probably better for them. That's the wrong color of light stone. He's got the wrong color. I want a word with Fletcher. Bring me Fletcher. Craig Moore. Let's see what he's got in here. That's an odd place for that squadron marking. Like if I did that, it would look wrong. Okay, look at this. So I mentioned this before. Like, why do people abbreviate things that don't need to be abbreviated? Like, you shouldn't abbreviate July. It's only 4 freaking letters, right? The plate where this was made, date, February. Oh, my mistake. It's not abbreviated. I take that back. It was just so corroded. It looked like they abbreviated just the E on it. Never mind. I stand corrected. This color scheme looks really good. The damn near black on green looks great. It looks great on it. It looks even better on a chieftain. A chieftain is sexy. Chieftain is sexy. Excellent. Yeah, maybe sometime. Maybe sometime. I don't mind building the extra vehicles. I don't see like having like a bunch of British infantry set up for Normandy and go like, you know what, I need to do some BEF infantry. I'm like, I'll just have them do double duty. And I do the same thing with the Germans. I got Germans that have the short boots, They do Barbarossa in 1941. I know they're not the correct ones, but you know, you need to use the stuff that you have already painted, you know? I'm pretty picky, so if it doesn't bother me, other people just need to chillax. I'm pretty picky about a lot of stuff. Like, same thing, I got a Panther A. Doesn't come with Zimmerit. I'm not putting Zimmerit on it. All Panther A should have Zimmerit. That's fine. It's the one kitty cat that got away. The German SDK of Z247 doesn't look too bad. I want to say I know what that looks like. That's like an artillery observation vehicle or a communication vehicle based on the 250 chassis, doesn't it? SDKFZ. Special Purpose Vehicle 247. No, that's one based on the 222. It doesn't look bad. It's a vehicle that doesn't get a lot of. Yeah, I like this. I like that bluish huge it has. What's this one called? Wolfhund. Wolfhound. You have 8 of the PSC kit, 3 gun tanks, and 1 CS for each version. Okay, you have 8 of the PSC kit, 3 gun tanks, and 1 CS for each version. Oh, okay. So you have 4 for BEF and 4 for the desert. Yeah, I specifically did not. When I ordered this last set of the 3D prints from Chad, I ordered an A10 because I'm still miffed that the freaking nerds that do 15 millimeter Plastic Soldier Company gives them an option to do A10s also, but not for the true believers in 20 millimeter scale. We only get A9 versions, so I gotta source out another A10. So he's gonna 3D print an A10 for me. But when I do A9s, I'll get the PSC ones. So man, the PSC stuff is really expensive. You know. Yeah, they're on my to do list. I'm focusing on Operation Crusader, and there are A9s in Operation Crusader. They'd all be in this unit, the one that has the A13s and the A10s and the A9s. So. Man, I love the way this thing looks. Too bad there wasn't an option to have the turret open. You know? God, this thing is, and part of it is the count, the light paint makes it pop, the counter scheme makes it pop, and the stripes make it pop. It's like, yes, yes, yes. It's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I like all three of the things on there. Excellent. All right. Well, it is quarter to 8. I'm sorry, it's quarter to 7. I'm gonna go ahead and stop. We'll be the French VBL is almost like an unarmored Jeep utility, the Humvee. It's cute and badass for a French vehicle. I'm not gonna knock the French. You know, they have hearts on their tanks. That's pretty cool. You know. So anyhow, we will see you guys tomorrow morning if you're morning people, and we will continue the